isn't it allowing me in? Hold on, folks. We're having some technical difficulties. Give me one moment. Give me one moment here as we try to navigate through these errors. All right, thank you. Hey, guys, thank you for being so patient. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Financial Sense. Man, technical issues. What can I say? I can't say anything. All I could say is I'm glad you're there and I'm glad I'm here. And let's make this thing work, baby. Let's make it work. Hey, I have a friend that um man, she's just a firecracker. Now, you guys know this is Financial Sense. We talk about money. Money, honey, money. Now, we're both in the same organization. It's called World System Builder, World Financial Group. And what do? We help people grow and protect their wealth. Now, if y'all didn't know, last month was Financial Literacy Month. I don't know what this month is. I guess it's just May. I don't know. It's something, right? It's something. But anyway, I'd like to introduce this young lady to you. She's going to be my co-host today. Her name is Angelise Wills. And then we have a special guest. Look, let me tell you something. Y'all better pay attention to this thing because things are happening quick. Angelise. Hey.
Good afternoon. Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. So good to have. Look at the smile. Look, if I'd have known you better, she had like she was glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's money.
Yes.
But not just money, how to grow and protect your wealth. And there's things that people could do today uh, to protect their money. You know, a lot of people, and they want to grow it, right? You know anybody don't want to grow their money?
I don't know anyone who doesn't want
I
to
don't
grow
know
their
anybody either. No. Everybody I know want to grow that stuff, right? Well,
Exactly.
most people are familiar with stocks and bonds, um, and IRAs, and we're going to be talking about IRAs. This is really an IRA. It's like an IRA on steroids. All right. And then the value of it is this. you won't lose a penny. Could you imagine that? Putting your money somewhere where it'll grow. And even when there's a bad economy or there's a recession, a depression, or somebody's going crazy, right? The money could still grow. Well, we have a special guest. He's the Regional Vice President of Annuity Marketing Services. His name is Mr. Blake Grant. And let me tell you something. This man is a phenomenal individual. He's a beautiful person, and he knows what he's talking about. Mr. Blake Grant, welcome, sir.
I really appreciate you having me. And as you were doing that description, I was looking around here seeing if you're talking about somebody else. So I thank you for the kind words, and the feeling is mutual. I love the passion, the energy, and everything y'all do here on the podcast at WSB World System Builders. Just really enjoy working with y'all, and absolutely happy and thrilled to be here. So appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Man, listen, it's always a pleasure when you're here. You know, I know you're busy. I know you're busy, you know, but you took time out of your schedule to be with us. Hey, listen, you're gonna make this thing go international. You know, when we bring in celebrities like Blake, look, celebrities in the finance industry, you know.
Exactly.
So, listen.
I'll take it where I can get it. I appreciate
that. People don't really understand. They think they understand finances and where they could put their money so their money could grow. People think they understand. They think they know. Most people really don't know. Most people go where they are comfortable or with what they are familiar with. They don't understand that there's other vehicles out there that's traveling faster than what they're familiar or what they're comfortable with, and they're traveling steadier. No, they're not like on a wave of water that's up then way down. They have some consistency, and this is beautiful. So Blake, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, about the company, AMS. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate you having me. And so I'm Blake Grant, and I work for a company called Annuity Marketing Services. And what we do is we represent a number of different insurance companies. And what we do is we bring various products, solutions, whatever you want to call them, to firms, to distribution partners like WSB in the forms of annuities that offer guaranteed protection. And that's protection from income down the line, protection from downside, protection from credit rate risk. Basically, that's what we do, is we are offering protection in a number of different packages. And Anthony, you just said something great. I love it. You know, most people stick with what they know. And that's why, again, I love what y'all do in terms of the education piece of it. And I always use this example, right? Most people have been to Cheesecake Factory or some restaurant that has a huge menu, right? You got 100 plus things to choose from. I guarantee you most people get the same thing from Cheesecake Factory every time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And why? Because they're comfortable. They know what they're going to get, right? It might take somebody to say, hey, I know you love the Cobb salad, but have you ever thought about the seared ahi tuna salad? It is really good too. And maybe sometimes we need people to show us, hey, something that's similar, right? But that we might be enjoy, or that might be as good, if not better for us than our Cobb salad.
Right.
And I think that's what we're trying to do here. So I might be getting ahead of myself real quick. I'll back up. You did ask me to tell a little bit about me. I've been in the industry about 23 years.
Mm.
22, 23 years. Sorry, I'm getting a little old. So, time.
Hey, watch it. I think I got both of you guys beating age.
Time gets a little lost on me sometimes. I actually started off as a licensed banker up in Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 2 years. Then I got into wholesaling where I was an internal wholesaler. Then I managed a team of internals. And then I've actually been out in the field, meaning out as an external, traveling, doing education, trainings, things like that for the past 13 years. And I currently live down in South Mississippi, in the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I cover the great states of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana.
Wow.
And thank goodness for virtual interaction, because sometimes it's hard to be everywhere all at once. So this makes things great and possible. So appreciate y'all having me.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, I like the example that you gave, and Angelise, listen, just feel free to jump in anytime.
Sure.
I like the example you gave about food, because it reminds me of me. When my wife knows, right? We go to a certain restaurant, she already know what I'm going to order. She already knows. All right. She already, and sometimes I'll look at the menu and it's the same restaurant, and I'm just looking at the menu to see if there's anything different that I want to order, and we don't look at finances like that. And it's actually a menu. There's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of vehicles out there that offers safety.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what we found when I came to WFG. I had never heard of the indexed annuity. And when I heard of it, even after I studied it, I had no idea that the indexed annuity is also a IRA account, but just on steroids. So tell us about some of the products that you guys carry.
Yeah. So what we do, and on the fixed index side, so just for those folks out there, just as a quick kind of, what exactly are we talking about? A fixed indexed annuity is very simple, and I'll start with what it does, and I'll kind of describe how it does it.
Okay.
But what it does is, first and foremost, we're looking for opportunities for growth and or guaranteed lifetime income, right? So that's the main number one. The second thing it does is it does it with absolutely no risk. And what we mean by that, as Anthony touched on it earlier, these are designed to never take a loss, right? So even if the index that you are using to make money or to drive income has a bad year, the worst thing that happens to you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is you get a zero. And, there's a common phrase in the industry called zero is your hero. And the big reason for that is this. Nobody really likes to lose money, but we understand that if we're going to invest long-term, that's kind of that's par for the course. But as I get closer to retirement, I really can't afford to take any loss because my retirement window is starting to shrink. And if I want to guarantee or have a certain lifestyle in retirement, I may not have another 10 years to make up for market losses. And I'll give you just a quick math example. Last year, the S&P 500 was down 20%. So if I was in an unprotected asset, so let's just say I was in a mutual fund and I lost 20%, I now have to make 25% just to get back to even. That's a tough task. And if I'm 65, 70 years old, I may not have that time horizon or the risk tolerance to deal with that. So indexed annuities, basically, again, like I said, take away not just the loss, but we also eliminate that recovery period, which is huge for people who are in or near retirement. So that's the second thing it does. Protects, no downside risk. And then the third thing it does, depending on the annuity, full disclosure, it'll come with no fees, so it will cost you nothing. Or in some cases, when we're looking to guarantee a lifetime income stream like a pension, it may cost around 1% of your account value. Very inexpensive. heard a phrase a long time ago, cost is only the issue in the absence of value. And I don't think you can put enough value on the fact that we can build an income stream for you that you will never outlive. And
Wow.
so that is what we do. And again, we do it with various different partners, various different products. We talk about the needs in three main buckets, and then I'll stop and see what questions we've got. And Anthony and Lise want to say a couple things, but there's three buckets to think about. And the first one is, I just want to grow my money safely. Maybe I'm not quite ready to start having that guaranteed income conversation, but I understand I need my money to continue to grow. Why? Cost of living is going up. Inflation is going up. Things don't get cheaper as time goes by.
That's
right.
true.
So I know I can't just go put my money in a mattress. Might be safe there, but safety isn't all about protecting the asset. It's also protecting its value. And if I don't do something to make my money grow, it's actually losing value. So safe accumulation is one big bucket. And then the other two, both are around income. I might have a guaranteed income now or soon, meaning immediately or within the next couple years, or income later. Hey, I'm going to start my guaranteed lifetime income 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the line. And I don't know one person who doesn't have one of those three needs when they are in or very near retirement.
Wow, man, that was a mouthful right there. That was a mouthful, but we all need to hear that, right? So now let me ask you something. Index annuities, that's only one of the products that you guys carry. What else do you carry?
Yep. So we also carry just traditional fixed annuities, also known as multi-year guaranteed annuities, MYGA. And that is, you talk about certain things being on steroids. You can think of that as like a certificate of deposit, like a CD on steroids. Okay. And what I mean by that is you get a guaranteed rate every year for 3 years or 5 years, or there's some longer terms.
Okay.
But the beauty about those, just like the indexed annuities, is that they all grow tax deferred. And what we mean by that is we defer the tax bill. I'll give you a quick example. If I have a CD at the bank, and every bank I work with, if you make at least $10 in interest from that bank, you will get a 1099 the following January. And the 1099 says, this is how much we paid you in interest. Now you get to go back and give some of it back to Uncle Sam. So making up numbers, if I made 1% in my CD and I'm in a 20% tax bracket, I got to give 0.2 of that back to Uncle Sam. So I didn't make 1, I actually made 0.8. In annuities, because they're growing tax deferred, literally deferring the tax bill or putting it off until I take the money in hand, I make 1%, and I'm making up rates, by the way. We have much stronger rates than this.
Right.
But 1%, I grow that 1%, I get to keep it. Right. I don't have to give any of it back in that year. And then what that means is the next year when I make another 1%, I'm getting compounded growth. So tax deferral and compounding growth cannot be undersold at all. It is an amazingly safe, great way to grow your money.
Man, that's awesome. Now, Angela, let me ask you something, because you've been in the industry for how long now?
Actually, a couple of years now.
Okay, a couple of years. So have you had any clients that was interested in annuities or saving their money? I run into it all the time. But I wonder, maybe either of you can answer this. What do you find to be one of the major drawback for people really taking that plunge and trusting the product?
For me, personally, I have had people that have been interested in, looking at different ways to make their money grow. But I also feel like, just like the analogy that Blake described, people are used to the same thing or what they're familiar with. They will stick with what they're familiar with. So I do believe that I need to actually work on being better at educating people, because they're afraid. They're afraid that, they don't understand exactly how annuities work. And I'll be the first to tell you, I honestly did not understand it as well. But they're definitely a great product. And I think that people maybe get stuck on the fact that, you know, I can't lose any money. Like, you know, it's almost unbelievable. But I think that it's amazing. It's really nice, because as opposed to their 401k that, you know, you never know if you're losing or what's going on with your account. There's a lot of people that don't even understand that. So I think that we just need to work on being able to better educate people so that they can understand and they can feel secure when in attempting to get a product such as an annuity.
All right. Now, I just want to brag for a moment. That's my buddy. That's my friend right there. Angelise. Woo! Hey, listen, that was all serious. That was real, because that's what we're running into, right? That's what I run into, where people, well, I never heard of that. Sounds too good to be true. How could that be? You know, but it's there. And this isn't something that just happened last night. Blake, how long has the indexed annuity or the fixed annuity been in the market? I know the indexed annuity is a little newer than the fixed.
Yeah.
But how long has it been in the market?
Oh, shoot. I mean, the indexed annuities, I want to say the first company that rolled out an indexed annuity was, I think, somewhere in the 70s.
Okay.
And I apologize, I wasn't prepared for the history lesson here today.
That's all right. I'm sorry.
But
My
annuities,
fault.
but no, no. Probably something I should brush up on. But annuities in general have been around for centuries, in the forms of pensions. I mean, the Greeks had annuities, right? And really, and I think y'all make some great points. What we run up against a lot is, and I want everybody out there to understand this, is when we're talking about annuities and things you can do, we're not talking about taking all of your money from your savings or your 401k. Annuities are a piece of the plan. It is a part of a bigger picture that serve a purpose. And the main purpose is to protect your asset and to protect your future income. But it's not the only solution. So I think sometimes people hear annuities and they think, oh gosh, insurance, bad, you want all my money. And that's not the case. This is part of a bigger plan. Things you all do there with life insurance, with other types of securities, with other products, right? It's part of the plan. The other issue is that there are different types of annuities, right? So when some people say it's too good to be true, or I know somebody who had an annuity and they had a terrible experience, look, there's always some bad apples out there. And I'm not saying that the industry is not corrupt, but unfortunately, like in every business and every industry, sometimes people make some bad sales or they don't explain things properly. The annuities you all have to offer at WSB and WFG are 100% safe. They are not risk-taking annuities. There are annuities that take risk, right? So I want everybody to understand that. We are talking about annuities that offer protection first, some safe growth second, and you are not going to get market-like growth. They are not designed to give you stock and bond returns. If you want stock and bond mutual fund returns, you need to go in the market where you will get those stock and bond returns, but you will also get all of the stock and bond and mutual fund losses. What annuities do, what index annuities do, is eliminate the downside. So the worst thing you get is a zero. And the trade-off is you don't get all of the upside, right? So let's say in the market, maybe I made 15% or the market returned 15. In my annuity, I might get 8. But if the market's down 15, I don't lose 15. I don't lose 1. I don't lose a penny. And so that's what I really want to stress for those folks out there who may be uncertain or have some hesitation. We are talking safety, safety, safety. Safety first, growth second.
Big time. Hey, we have a really powerful question from one of my close friends. Oh, I love her so much. She used to be one of our hosts. She was one of the founders of Financial Sins, Miss Tanya Scott Pilcher. All right. And this is her question. Most people don't have lump sums. All right. They don't have lump sums to put into an annuity. Is there a company that has low starting amounts? That is a strong question.
And we do.
Yeah.
So we actually have two companies that you all can offer that offer annuities. And to Tanya's point, the majority of annuities are lump sum contributions.
Mhm.
They're one time, put it in and we're done and we ride it out and we all that
Right.
good stuff. But we do have a couple of companies that allow clients to add to it over the course of time, right? Because we also
Right.
understand not everybody's got, 50 grand, 100 grand laying around. Totally
Mhm.
get that. The smallest minimum that we have to offer, and this isn't in the industry, but that we have to offer is 10,000.
Mhm.
Now, some people say, well, how could I do that? What I'm trying to do an IRA, so on and so forth. If you have that amount, or if you can't make that certain contribution all at once, you still have to get started with 10,000, but you can do it in two pieces of money. And the example I'm going to give you is this. You have until April 15th of every year to make your prior year's IRA contribution.
Okay.
Right? So what you can do is make a contribution, because again, we got to start the contract at the same time, but you can make two contributions and say one is for 2022, one is for 2023. I'm making my two $5,000 IRA contributions. We bring them together and we've met that minimum premium amount requirement of 10,000.
All right. So let me ask you, do you put 5 in at the end of 1 year and then 5 in
at the beginning? Yeah. So, and it wouldn't have
Okay.
to work exactly like this, but simple,
Okay.
because nobody's working on New Year's Day. Right. But
Right.
you could basically say 12/31, here's my 2022 contribution, 1/1 of the next year, right? The next day, here's my 2023 contribution. And now I've met that
Okay.
minimum. Does that make sense?
That's
Okay.
good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Angela,
all that
what
being
were you
said,
reading?
yeah, real quick, I'll just say all that being said, and I don't want to chase people elsewhere, but there are other companies out there, we just don't happen to offer them, that will allow you to get started for a little less. There are folks out there that allow you to get started for around $5,000 or so. So just want to understand it is important to save for retirement.
Yeah. I thought we had one that started at 5. No?
Yeah, we did. And then I'm not sure. I think we had some servicing issues and things like that, and they were exited by WFG.
Okay.
Because look, as important as the products are,
Mhm.
if we can't get good service too, and that's as important to everybody
Yeah.
as what's my money doing,
Right.
then that's just not the kind of business that we want to offer.
That's right. That's right. So and this is critical for people to understand, all the companies that we offer are A-rated companies. Is that correct? Correct? Am I
Absolutely.
correct in saying that A and A+ rated, or
Yes,
they're
sir.
in that
And I'll tell
A-rated?
you right now, yep. And I'll tell you right now, if any of them start to falter, they will be exited instantaneously.
Wow.
So, I mean, and that's a great point, Anthony. The annuities you all have to offer are, quite frankly, from the strongest companies in the industry. And they are the best versions of these types of annuities that your clients can get, in all
Wow.
truthfulness. I know people probably say, well, he's biased, he sells this stuff. That's just a fact. We work with companies like Nationwide, Allianz, Athene, Global Atlantic, F&G. I mean, companies that are massively huge, extraordinarily safe. And what they are very good at is offering protection and growth to your clients. That's all they do.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
good stuff.
Wow. Hey, well, let me throw this out there. There's companies or ways people could get money into or to open up a annuity. We could roll it over, right?
Yeah.
Right. We could roll it over, or
Absolutely.
they can deposit it or transfer it from electronic funds transfer from a checking account. All right. So now we have, some people don't understand qualified and non-qualified.
Yeah.
All right. Could you talk about that briefly?
Yeah, perfect transition. I was just getting ready to go that, especially when we're talking about rollovers. And probably the next part of this conversation is, hey, where do we find the opportunities? And what kind of money are we looking at? And by kind of money, what are my sources, right? So,
Right.
your point, the most common is a rollover. And what we mean by a rollover is somebody's been working at a company for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, probably have a 401k. When we say rollover, I mean you can actually take that money from the 401k, move some or all of it into an annuity, and there's no tax consequence, right? Because it's simply going from one qualified plan to another. It's called a qualified plan transfer. The IRS allows for those with no tax liability whatsoever. And what do we mean by qualified versus non-qualified? And I'll talk about non-qualified sources in a second. Qualified means I've never paid taxes on this money. Means Uncle Sam has never gotten a chunk of what he wants, right? So the simplest one is a 401k, because how do most people, and what are the majority of contributions into a 401k? They're pre-tax dollars, meaning they come out of my ordinary income every year, right? So I don't get taxed on it. It goes straight into my qualified plan and is there to move and shake and grow, for future retirement needs. So qualified means I've never paid taxes on the money. Uncle Sam has never gotten a cut. All right. But he will get his. He will get his. Non-qualified money means I've paid taxes on some of the money. And what I mean by some of it is this. There's a couple different places you will get non-qualified money. The simplest is just from your bank account or a CD or a money market or a savings account, meaning, hey, I've earned this money. I already paid my taxes on it. I put it into a non-qualified account at the bank to earn some interest. But you know what? I think I can do better in annuity. So I want to contribute into an annuity. And again, there's no tax consequence because you've already paid taxes on it. And we can move those monies. And then that is a non-qualified annuity. Other sources of non-qualified funds are existing non-qualified annuities. Okay. And the beautiful thing about that is this. You can also move money from one annuity to another in what's called a 1035 exchange. 1035 is the IRS tax code that allows for that kind of transfer. Again, like the qualified plan transfer, with absolutely no tax consequence. Some people might say, well, what do you mean there's no tax consequence? I already paid taxes on the money. But if it's going from an annuity to an annuity, hopefully annuity number one, you made some money. Now you haven't paid taxes on that yet, but we can take that full amount, 1035 it with no tax consequence into another better non-qualified annuity, and you will not pay taxes on that again until you actually start taking distributions or you say, I'm done, just give me all my money back. And then you will have a tax bill just for any gain. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't get too deep or go too boring. And
no, that makes perfect sense. One lady explained it to me like this, and one of the ladies that work for you explained it to me like this. She said, the money that is qualified to be taxed, all right?
I like it.
And then the money that's not qualified to be taxed yet. And so I said, oh, yeah, okay. So like a checking account, that money is not qualified to be taxed because it was already taxed. All right. Correct. So now we have the people who have the IRA or the 401. All right. That money, it qualifies to be taxed because it hasn't been taxed yet. All right. And when she explained that thing to me like that, man, it's like a light bulb just, and I was like, oh, yeah, sookie now. I said, Greg got some good folks working for him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I was just thinking, since you were talking about moving over money that's been qualified or not qualified, what if somebody were to have a life insurance policy that had a cash value? Because normally you're not charged or there's no taxes depending on that money that's in there. Are you able to do that? Are you able to move money from your life insurance policy, your cash value, into an annuity?
From life into an annuity, you can.
You can.
From annuity to life, you
Okay.
can.
Okay.
And for the very reason
All
you
right.
just said, and I've said it a couple times, Uncle Sam is always going to get his, one way or the other. You can go from life to annuity because at some point that annuity will be, because there's no qualified life insurance, right?
Right.
So we're using after-tax non-qualified.
Yeah.
So you can go life to annuity because at some point, either on death or distribution,
I see,
you're going to get taxed on whatever gains you've had above and beyond what your original contributions were, right?
Definitely.
You can't go annuity to life. Why? Because Uncle Sam's allowed you to grow this money tax deferred, meaning you've not paid taxes on any of the gains. And if you were able to then go put it in a life insurance policy and then have a tax-free distribution, who's not getting his?
Right.
Uncle Sam.
Right. Uncle
So
Sam.
you can go life to annuity. You can't go annuity to life. Great question. Great question.
That was a powerful question. Girl, I knew there was a reason why I needed you up here today. Yeah, that was, I actually have a client who opened up a life insurance policy because it was easier for him to put smaller amounts in and then put in large amounts as he's able to. And, he has an IUL, Index Universal Life, right?
Yep.
And his plan is to really overfund this thing so he could accumulate money faster because he wants to move it into a indexed annuity. And I'm like,
gotcha.
Hey,
it's great.
You could do that.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so this is really good because a lot of people don't understand what's out there. They think they understand. They think they understand because they heard somebody say something, a family member, a friend, but they haven't really spoken to a professional.
Definitely.
And that makes all the difference in the world when you have a professional that could explain the nuances in the finance industry and break it down to bite-sized pieces so that the average individual could now adjust and consume this thing and understand how their money can be protected. This is a phenomenal conversation, and this is great. This is awesome. Even though she stole my question, but it's all right.
I actually have another question.
Go for it.
So Blake, you mentioned there's different types of annuities. So people might also not understand this, that, there's different types of annuities, and there's also different types or different time frames that they would have to have the annuity. So can you just share the different time frames that you would have to have an annuity, or you could have an annuity?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, and I apologize, I should have touched on this earlier. Look, annuities, just like your CDs, just like your loans, whatever, they are contracts, right?
Okay.
So part of the deal is that you as a client say, I will leave this money with you, insurance company, with annuity company for 5 years. It might be 5 years, 7 years, 8, 9, 10. We can go up to 10 years.
Okay.
In return, you give me either the guaranteed or opportunity for growth during that time. And what that means is this, again, full disclosure, transparency. If you break the contract before you've fulfilled your obligation, you will have a penalty, right?
Okay.
But that is with everything.
Right.
People want to say, oh, that's why I just do CDs. There isn't one bank that I work with, and I work with Regions, Fifth Third, TD Bank, Truist, some others in the South, in the Deep South, Hancock Whitney, some smaller credit unions. There isn't one bank I work with that if you have a CD, let's say you buy a 1-year CD and you say, I need my money back in 8 months, they will penalize you. It's a contract.
Right.
The great thing about that, though, is it builds some inherent discipline, right? because you have, before you commit to this, you have to say, yes, I understand, and I'm okay leaving that money alone to let it do its thing for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever my time horizon is. So those are your general commitments. And I will say this, we've seen a lot of growth in the 5-year space because people are, feeling like, look, 5 years is nothing. Look, 10 years is nothing. I remember 10 years ago like it was yesterday. But sometimes, especially if you're newer to this, it feels like a huge commitment, right? So just understand the commitment is to yourself. It's not to the insurance company. If you go into an annuity or any kind of contract and you start messing around and pulling your money out, you're not going to get the growth. And so that's really why we have those terms in there. Because again, you're not committing. Think of it as not a commitment to Nationwide. It's a commitment to yourself that you're going to be disciplined. Let this money do its thing. Now, all that being said, you do have access to your money. And with most companies, I can't speak to every company in the industry. Most companies are going to give you anywhere from a 5 to 10% penalty-free withdrawal every contract year. So if you do have an emergency or something like that, and it doesn't even have to be an emergency, you can say, hey, I want to go to Vegas. We don't recommend you use your annuity like that, but you can.
Right.
The insurance company will allow you to take out anywhere from 5 to 10% penalty-free each year. So you are not giving up control of your money. The last thing I'll say about that is, as I mentioned before, we're not taking all of your money and putting it into an annuity. Part of the annuity conversation should be that we also leave you with plenty of liquidity, money in your bank, money in your savings account to cover emergencies, monthly expenses, things like that.
That's a good point.
That's important for people to understand that we're not going to say, hey, you have 100,000 in your bank account. No, I need all of it for you to open this. No, that's not going to happen. One, if someone did try that, their annuity would not be approved. Not with us, because we have to verify, make sure that it's affordable. All right, that we're not taking that person's last penny. We got to make sure they got money to live off of, or they have some type of income coming in conjunction with money to live off of. All right, so that's critical, and people need to understand that when you invest your money, you need to make sure that you do have an emergency fund. You have money to fall back on. You have money available to you so that you're not strapped and then saying, hey, look, I need my money back. No, because this is not that type of program.
Right.
This is not that type of program. You're not going to come back in 1 year and you signed a 5-year or 10-year contract and say, hey, look, I need my money back. Now you can get it. You could get it, just like Blake was saying. You could get that money back. It's your money, but you will be penalized. You will be penalized for that. Now, what happens, though, Blake, for someone who lets their contract roll over? So they finished 10 years, they didn't take the money out, and now they want their contract to roll over for another 10 years. What happens?
So that's a great question. And they have, options to do whatever they want, really. So first option, the simplest one would be they just leave it there. Okay. Right. And it'll continue to grow and do its thing, and it'll be priced accordingly and all that. But the great thing at that point is it's all liquid, right? They've fulfilled their 10 years or 8 years or whatever. So if they leave it alone, now it's completely liquid. There is no penalty to go get all your money. You can take out as much as you'd like. There's no more, only 5 to 10%, that kind of thing. So that's option one. Just leave it alone. It's totally liquid. The second thing they could do, and depending on the kind of annuity, they might at that point turn it into a lifetime income stream.
Okay.
Right? So that might have been part of the purpose. The third thing, because again, the great thing about the financial services industry is things are always changing, always trying to get better. 10 years from now, we're going to have annuities, index annuities that don't look anything like the ones we have today. And there may be something that's a better fit for them. And that would be where we would say, hey, we fulfilled our 10-year contract. Depending on the type of money, if it's qualified, non-qualified, we'll do a rollover or a 1035 into a brand new, potentially better product 10 years from now. Or, I guess last but not least, they can always say, I'm done. Give me all my money. I'll pay my taxes on the gains and I'm going to go have a party.
Right. Either something like that, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not telling y'all to do that, but it doesn't sound bad. Especially, if you feel you deserve that. But let me mention this because we're running short on time. Blake, you're located where?
I'm in a town called Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. It's on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, about an hour east of New Orleans.
Wow. Now, look, you guys out in New Orleans, if you need any help, Blake is there, but you can't find Blake. Hey, you can find me. All right. No, let me stop messing around. All right. So, but Blake is a regional vice president. All right. So he's been around. He's been around the block a few times here. He knows what he's talking about. And that's why we love having him come on, because the information he provides us is invaluable. It's invaluable. People, I'm telling you, if you want secrets of the rich, you just heard some. All right. They know where to put their money, so their money is making money and not losing money. All right. I'm going to say that again. They know where to put their money, so their money is making money and not losing money. All right. Now, a lot of rich folks jump into the market, and I'm not licensed in the stock market, so I can't talk about that per se, but a lot of people jump into the market, and if that's what you want to do, you go for it. As for me and my pocket, I'm going to play it safe. I want my money to accumulate. Now, let me mention this to you. For those of you that are watching us, I could do an illustration, or Angelique could do an illustration for you free of charge. In other words, we could show you what your money would look like after 5 years, after 10 years, after 7 years, after 8 years. All right. So these are the contracts that we run into. I think 5 being a minimum. Is that correct, Blake?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So 5, 7, 8, and 10. That's what we run into. Most of my clients do the 10-year. All right. I do have some folks that like the 8-year better because they feel, I might need it sooner. Hey, that leads me to this question, Blake. What's the earliest someone could open up an annuity or with WSB, WFG, and what's the latest age-wise?
So there's two different kind of parameters, right? WFG has some parameters, but then the products themselves have parameters.
Right.
Most of the products will start at age 0 or 18 and go up to anywhere from 75 to 85. Now, WFG really feels it's most suitable to start having this conversation age 40 and above.
Okay.
Right. So we do see some younger folks. There will be, you'll have to go through some additional hoops just to make sure, they feel like that's an appropriate sale. And look, not to freak anybody out there. They just feel like, hey, at that age, as we talked about at the top, you have a lot longer time horizon before retirement. So why are you putting money in a tax deferred vehicle yet? Right. And I want to come back to that because I meant to mention something before. So I would say for you all, the buckets, like I talked about before, safe accumulation and then income now, soon income later. Your accumulation is going to start probably age 40 to 50, maybe 55. And then you're going to start having the guaranteed income conversations in the 50s. You still do safe accumulation in your 50s because some people are like, look, I'm going to keep working for 20 years. I don't need to worry about guaranteed income yet. But I would say for the purposes of this conversation, everybody out there, 40 is probably where we're going to start to have that conversation. And then we can go, depending on the product, anywhere from age 75 to 85. Okay. And can I come back to one thing? I know we're up against it.
Yeah, go right ahead.
We talked about tax deferral. And the other reason that we don't see a lot of younger people, 30s, 40s, getting guaranteed income is that if you are in a tax deferred vehicle, like an annuity, whether it's qualified or non-qualified, Uncle Sam also says you can't touch that money, take it in hand until you're 59 and a half.
Right.
If you do that, you will pay an additional 10% penalty.
Yeah.
And so that's the other reason that some younger folks, it may or may not be deemed appropriate yet because they have such a long time horizon. What if you do want to get to some of your money when you're 42? Oh man, now I got to go pay a 10% tax penalty on top of ordinary income. Mm-hmm. So that's the other reason that we don't see a lot of annuities or guaranteed income conversations in the 30s and 40s. The income conversation really starts in the 50s and above.
Okay. Awesome. Now, we're running really short here, but let me mention this. I had a thought here. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So, on when someone opens up an index, and you know what? I didn't even have a chance. I want to talk about Roths because I know you guys carry Roths too. Yes. We have to have you come back, man. Because I had a question from a client. Can they combine a Roth or put a Roth into an index or index into a Roth or whatever? And I'm like, that's a really good question. And I told them to ask their accountant.
The answer is yes, but there's a but it also depends, right? So Roth qualifications, there's certain income levels and all that good stuff. So from just a pure technical standpoint, can you have a Roth annuity? Yes, you can. But whether or not they would actually tax-wise qualify for that conversion, we would just have to do some due diligence.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Well, listen, folks, that's our time for today. Man, this has been very enriching. Yes. This has been phenomenal. Whoa. I've gotten so much out of this. You know, I believe I'm going to help a lot of people, a lot more people than what I've been doing. If you ever want to come and find out more information, hey, my office is right in Rankin, Georgia. All right, that's it, running across the bottom of the screen. That's it right there. That's me. Yeah, that's it. All right. And then if I'm right on the main road. Now, let me throw this out there. I am planning right now a Juneteenth celebration that will be on June 17th. We're going to have vendors, choirs, speakers. It's going to be loaded. I mean, loaded. There's going to be food trucks. If you like Jamaican food, man, there's going to be Jamaican food. There's going to be American food. There's going to be this, that, and the other. It's going to be off the chain. That's on a Saturday. Then we're going to participate in another one on Juneteenth Day, the 19th, that Monday in Port Wentworth, Georgia. Wow. Hey, look, people want help, and this is a great way of doing it. So I'm trying to take the advantage of it. I want to thank my guest today, Mr. Blake Grant, Angelise, my stand-alone co-host today. Angelise, say something to the people as we're leaving.
Yes, well, definitely has been a pleasure to be on your podcast today. Thank you, Blake, for the awesome information. I definitely feel more confident that I can speak to clients out there and be able to educate them more on the annuity options. And yes, if anybody is looking for any financial services, please don't hesitate to contact me as well. We do have my information on here.
Yes,
so
we do.
Always give me a call. I am located in Duluth, Georgia. That's where my office is located. But I definitely am open to travel as well. I am licensed in 5 other states, I should say. So please don't hesitate to give me a call.
Hey, you're not the only one, right? I forget which states I'm licensed in too. I said, let me see. I'm Connecticut. I'm in this one. I'm in that one. Hey, you know what? I don't care where you are in the United States. If you need help, call us. We can help you anywhere in the United States, and I can help you from Puerto Rico to Canada. If you need help, holler at me. Holler at a brother. Hey, look,
That's
Blake,
right.
tell us something. Tell us last words before we leave.
Look, first of all, I want to say thank you very much. And look, for those folks out there, if you haven't talked to somebody, and look, we all need professionals. These two folks will set you right.
Definitely.
At least it does not hurt or cost a dime to have the conversation. Because why do we all work? We work to make money to at some point retire and enjoy that retirement. If we're not taking some of these steps we talked about today, we're going to work until we fall over. And I don't know about you, but I want to spend some time, traveling, grandkids, all that stuff. And I don't want to have to worry about where my next check. Thoughts, questions, even if you want to argue with them, just call them, have the conversation, get the conversation started. And I think you will be very, very happy with the results. So thank you very much for the time. I always enjoy it. I love what y'all do. I love the passion you bring and just the genuine, enthusiasm you have for helping people. So thank you all very much. You're great partners. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You
With
too.
that said, hey, take care, you guys. We'll see you next week.
I like that.